What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is AkeemHaynes. I'm a two-time Olympic bronze medalist, author, motivational speaker, and sports commentator. On my channel, we talk boxing, MMA, track and field, and of course, motivation and encouraging content. If this is something that you enjoy, then I hope that you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into the video. David Morrell Jr. versus Aidos Yerbossynuly. This is going to be a very good matchup, an interesting matchup, and not one that many should overlook. Let's talk about David Morrell Jr. He's an impressive talent. He's coming into this one with a record of 7 wins, 6 by way of knockout. His name has been attached to wanting to get a fight against David Benavidez. I know he wants that, which would be a very massive step up for him. While I personally don't think he's ready for that type of opponent just yet, his opponent this weekend is going to be a tough task, I believe, and it's not going to be as easy as the paper and other people might say, in my opinion. But David Morrell, man, he's an exciting fighter to watch. He's a big man that has skills and technique as those guys that are just as sound in the lighter division. We know he's a puncher. We know he's got power, but what I like most about him is how he takes the right angles to deliver those punches. A good fighter can land their shots, but a great fighter can land different variety of shots from different angles and be effective every single time out in every single round. And Morrell can do just that. I thought his fight against Calvin Henderson was a great showcasing of all his punching capabilities and all of the skills and tools in his offensive repertoire. The body shots were strong, accurate, and clean. When he targeted the head, it was hard, it was heavy, and made Henderson's neck snap back when he did connect, right? When he got in close, he used a short distance uppercut that had a lot of success against Calvin Henderson. His combination work was fast, it was sharp, it was snappy. His pressure was relentless. How he adjusted and changed angles to land the same shot and gave it a different look and setting it up a little differently. Man, there's a reason why people think so highly of him, because he is skilled, he is talented, and he is just getting started. He really hasn't even touched the potential of where I believe that he can be. I also like how he's defensively responsible enough to know when to keep the distance, right? When to come in and when to be careful and not overextend himself too much where he might find himself in danger. So he has a very high ring IQ, right? Operating at a high level, as most Cuban boxers are, especially with their amateur pedigree. He uses his strengths very well. He's also used to pressuring his opponents. He hasn't faced anyone yet that has made him back up. Someone that has made him respect that punching power or his opponent's skill. If a fighter like him doesn't respect your power, he's going to come forward, he's going to walk you down, and he's ultimately going to have his way with you, as he has in fights before. Perhaps Yerbossynuly can be the one to take the fight to him and not just become a punching bag like some of the opponents that David Morrell has beaten before. But let's talk about his opponent, Aidos Yerbossynuly. 16 wins, no losses, 11 wins by way of knockout. This will be his 3rd fight in America, so this isn't going to be new grounds for him. He's been there 2 times before. This is the first time I'm actually hearing about Yerbossynuly. His biggest win is over a guy that David Morrell also beat in Lennox Allen. But this is a guy who controls the distance well and uses the jab, right? Not only to set up his shots, but to keep his opponents at bay, to keep them at distance so he can gauge how aggressive they may be coming in. He doesn't have the footwork like David Morrell, but he can move decently, right? He's a patient guy. He's not going to force the fight. He's going to bide his time, and he's going to wait for the right openings before letting his hands go. In the fights that I've seen of him, he doesn't throw a whole lot in the rounds, but he does land effectively when he does. He's very accurate from what I can see so far. He likes to use that 1-2 combination where it's the left hand jab and then use the other hand right down the middle of his opponent's chest. He might follow that up with a body shot as well too. To me, he's more of a thinker, and I think he has to be, because he's not as skilled as David Morrell Jr. His footwork isn't as good as David Morrell Jr. His talent ceiling is not as high as David Morrell, but he's patient enough and sound enough to wait for the right timing to be able to land his shots. He does have pop in his shot. This is not a guy who hasn't taken anybody out. He has some knockouts on his resume. He uses his feints and changes level to set up his shots and give different angles and give different looks. He's got a good chin as well. He can take a shot, but he doesn't want to take too much of David Morrell's shots because no one can take that much shots and not be worn down. But I think this is going to be Morrell's toughest test so far. As I said before, he's more naturally skilled, more naturally talented than Yerbossynuly, but Yerbossynuly is not going to lie down. If he can withstand some of the early pressure that I'm anticipating David Morrell to bring forth and come with in the early rounds, perhaps he can allow him to tire out and gain his strength in the middle rounds going into the later rounds. When Morrell is on the attack, though, sometimes he has a tendency to get a little bit greedy, right? Where he headhunts more than he needs to and leaves himself open. I don't think Yerbossynuly is quick enough to capitalize off that. I don't think he's much of a counter puncher. I don't think his hand speed is that fast or that quick, but I think that he can find his way out of that pressure by using his feet. Yerbossynuly is well conditioned and he'll come in strong late in the fight if he's still there. He's a good fighter, a very disciplined fighter, and so it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. So who wins? I have David Morrell winning this one on decision. Yerbossynuly is tough, and I think he is going to have something up his sleeve in this. I just have a feeling about that. I don't think he wins the fight, but I do think he makes it a tough and grueling fight in this one. I have no doubt that Morrell is going to come and apply the pressure and look for the stoppage, but for his development, I hope this one goes the full length of the fight. I hope it goes all 12 because I think he really does need to get that work in, especially as he goes to fight higher caliber boxers, because championship experience is something that you cannot duplicate. You have to be in that position in order to gain that experience. So I have David Morrell winning by decision. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a couple ways that you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly, greatly appreciated. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you can find my social media handles on screen as well. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, then do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.